and techie Brezza, the city-bred SUV.
हार्दिक पांड्या को फैंस बहुत बू कर रहे हैं. He's going through a tough time. But as an Indian cricketer, if you had to give him a message, what would that be?
He's the best player. Not the best player. He's the best finisher. Yeah, he has done so much for our Indian team, and I don't see why people are giving him hate. So that's why he's a good player for us. Yeah.
It's okay. It happens. So it's not his fault entirely or anything like that. So I think he should just keep at it.
Just don't listen to the haters. Do your thing. Yeah.
Your message to Hardik Pandya.
Keep believing in yourself and just show what you are doing from last 5 to 10 years.
External noise is external noise, and they know how to fade that away.
All right then, Hardik's homecoming, at least at the Wankhede Stadium from the fans that we could catch up with, sees a warm welcome for the new MI skipper. Well, he will have to handle the heat now. The Mumbai Indians start a streak of 4 games at the Wankhede Stadium after dropping their first 2. They remain the only team without a win in IPL 2024. Up against them are a team that have won 2-2, and the Rajasthan Royals boast of a formidable record at the Wankhede. Monday has all eyes on the Wankhede Stadium in the IPL. This is Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout. Tom Moody, Mitch McClenaghan, who's a bit nervous, I'm sure, with Mumbai Indians games, he tends to be. Varun Aaron, all in readiness, as our good friend Ravi Shastri likes to say. The Hardik homecoming is obviously the center story today. After everything that has gone down, we heard from some of the fans that I don't know they represent the majority, but how much of that is at play when Hardik Pandya takes the field today? Is the reception really going to determine a lot about the new MI skipper? Varun?
I think, knowing Hardik, he needs a bit of needle to elevate his game. If he's been getting hate from the fans, maybe not in Bombay, but outside.
It happened in Ahmedabad. And it happened then in Hyderabad.
Correct. I hope the Bombay fans don't give him hate. But even if he does, that's just going to egg him on to perform better, to take MI across the line in a tough situation. But knowing Hardik, he's not somebody who's going to get beaten down by any of this. It's just going to make him stronger. And I'm sure that he's going to come out pretty much all right.
Yeah, you know Hardik well. You also know Hardik well. Let's just hear what Ashwin also had to say ahead of this. Ashwin obviously articulates his thoughts on most subjects and does it well. Minces no words when he says fan wars should never go this ugly. So that's where Ashwin stands. He thinks it's crossed a line here. One should remember which country these players represent. So then what warrants a cricketer getting booed? Mitch, from what you know of him, it's one thing to say he thrives on the negativity and he can block out the noise, but has it gotten to a point, like you rightly said, where it's just not fun anymore?
Oh, from my point of view, I think it has. But as I quite rightly keep on getting reminded on Twitter, that the fans can do what they want and they don't want to listen to us experts tell them not to. And that just shows you where the fans are at, I guess, that they're not going to listen to what we say. We'd love it to be out of the game. They're not going to listen to what Ashwin says. So it looks like it's here to stay for the moment. And Tom alluded to the other night that it's going to take some team performances for it to finish. And I'm just really hopeful as a Mumbai fan, obviously, and for Hardik himself, that they do get a couple of good team performances on the board. So then at least at home that doesn't happen.
At some point, I'm sure the coaching staff, the management would be at least cognizant of this, aware of this, that this is happening, and they've lost the 2 games. If you were in the position that, say, Mark Boucher or Maila Jayawardene is, and you're noticing what's happening here, what would your sit down with Hardik be like, just to make sure he's in the right headspace?
Oh, you'd wrap your arms around him, and you just make sure he's okay first and foremost, and reassure him that he is the right man for the job, and reassure him that he is still the most important or one of the most important players in the side, and just go out there and just try to block out the noise, if there is noise, and focus on what's in front of you. And that's the very next ball that he's facing, that he's bowling, or the decision he's making as a captain. And that's all you can do. I think the reality is, not just in India, but around the world, players get booed. It doesn't matter what country you come from. I'm just speaking from Australia's point of view in various other sports.
Sure.
There are players that get booed if they do something that the spectators don't like. And the spectators feel they have a right to express themselves. It doesn't mean they hate that person. It means that they're expressing themselves of their disappointment on, what has played out over the last few months.
It's somewhat unprecedented. I mean, in my mind, I can't speak for the 80s or the 90s, but barring Saurav Ganguly's time in Kolkata when an Indian team was actually booed after he was not, after he's removed as captain, and I had no stories of people from that team who said we never felt such hostility at home. And this is, of course, pre-social media and pre-whatnot, but this is still unique for a modern-day giant like Hardik Pandya, superstar, let's call him that, almost to be booed at in his own home country. What Tom speaks of is usually a reception dished out to travelling players, visiting players, is it not?
It is quite surprising, but I mean, if you look at it from a fan's perspective, it's the fans in Ahmedabad, they might just feel a bit betrayed because he won them one IPL, came runners-up, and they might have been looking forward for him to win them more, but he left to Mumbai Indians and he went. But that's their perspective. There's so much inner workings for all these decisions, which sometimes players have to take, keeping themselves and their future in mind, which he has.
I'm just going to add a little bit of info here. We were on air when the toss was taking place real time, which Sanju Samson has won. Rajasthan Royals will bowl, which I'll come to in a little while. But there was a small cheer when Sanju Samson took the mic and addressed the questions. Then when Hardik Pandya came up, there were boos. So the Wankhede.
Well, it's not the worst thing I've seen from fans on a cricket pitch. I remember playing a game at home in New Zealand, one of my first games for Central Districts, and Aaron Redman, who opened the batting for New Zealand, was fielding on the leg side boundary. It's a terrace ground at Pukakura Park, and he had a full chicken thrown from the top tier and exploded right next to him. So there's worse things that can happen than booing. So
yeah, I mean,
okay. Wasn't getting that. That's serious. It's the 1st of April. I hope that this is a serious story.
So
right?
basically, Mitch is giving Hardik consolation that don't worry.
There's worse things that can happen.
A chicken hasn't been thrown at you yet, so
you can deal with it.
You know, it's funny this, because if you're fans of the franchise, and of course you don't like, well, the management of the franchise may well have decided, Premier League football has its own ways of fans still supporting the team and expressing displeasure to the franchise. One wonders if the Wankhede fans are going to boo their captain, whether that's something that works for the franchise or not, given they've lost 2 out of 2. Stephen Smith, one of the undisputed modern-day greats, also featured on this couch a little while back, and he had his own experience and take on how this issue, rather sensitive for players at times, ought to be addressed.
It's a big one for him. He's filling big shoes with Rohit Sharma, who's been the most successful captain in IPL history, lifting 5 titles, and it hasn't started well for him. So he's under a little bit of pressure at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see what the reception's like in their first home game. Yeah, we've heard a few boos going around at the grounds, which that's been disappointing, I think, from my aspect. I didn't expect to see it the other night in Hyderabad. As you said, there wasn't a great deal of context with Hyderabad and that happening. I understood the first one in Gujarat going back home to his former side. But yeah, I feel like he's under a little bit of pressure. I think he's made a few tactical errors in the first couple of games, batting himself a little bit low probably in the first one, is my assessment. And then I think in particular in the second one, Bumrah only bowling 1 over in the first 13 overs was in my mind just a little bit mind-blowing. He's the best bowler in the world, and to have only bowled 1 over when the team's got 173 on the board in the 12th over, I was in disbelief, to be honest. Yeah.
Right. Steve Smith goes on to talk about the tactical errors that have come, which may well be connected to the pressure that Hardik Pandya might be feeling. One of those things is bowling himself the first couple of overs. We have opined whether Jasprit Bumrah should be doing more work in the power play on this show before. Went a bit too low in the chase against Gujarat, which Mumbai Indians end up losing from what was an extremely strong position going into the last 5. And bowling Bumrah again, just the 1 over when Travis Head and Abhishek Sharma were just blazing, going great guns. Shams Mulani ended up bowling the final over of that innings, which went for, I think, about 25. So just a handful of tactical errors that have been seen already in these games. Wonder if there is a connection between Hardik's captaincy with all that's going on. he didn't make any obvious errors in his successful 2 years at GT.
These things only raise their ugly head when you're losing. I think I said this before the IPL started in one of our shows, just around Hardik and his move and his captaincy, and a lot of things can be brushed under the carpet, you know, when you are winning, and you know you can win ugly, and it can still be celebrated by all and forgotten by all. The mistakes that are made by players and by captains or coaches, or whoever it might be, and I think this is a classic case of a perfect storm for Hardik. You know, there was a real arm wrestle around his move to Mumbai, polarised opinions on both camps and also the whole IPL, because every franchise would have watched that very, very closely, because it makes a difference to their campaign.
Yes,
if suddenly, hang on a sec, if Hardik's moving from there to Mumbai, that's making Mumbai stronger, and then suddenly Green's moving to RCB, that's, you know, what is that? It affects everyone. So whether he's in Hyderabad or whether he's in Mumbai or wherever he might be, everyone's going to have an opinion on Hardik Pandya and that move.
Yeah, that point, Tom, makes of when you're losing, these things will be, you know, magnified. Gujarat was a good franchise for him in terms of success. How much of the captaincy was influenced in many ways, you could say, by the coach there, because it's a new combination here. Ashish Nehra is a very active coach over there. But tell us a little bit about what you could observe about, say, the Hardik leadership or tactical, captain working with someone like Ashish Nehra and having to adjust here.
Yeah, they had a great relationship because they started off together. You know, when you start off a relationship together, win your first IPL together, that obviously creates a very special bond, which again went into the second year because there's a lot of trust. And like Tom said, when you lose, that's when you start having these small, like these devils appear on your shoulders and like people whispering into your ear and then guys not being happy and stuff like that. But when you're winning, there's no problems ever. So yeah, coming back to your question, Hardik and Ashish Nehra had a great relationship. There was absolutely no confusion ever in any decisions. It was very, very clear. I'm not very sure about his relationship with Mark Boucher because it's just been 3 games.
Yep.
I'm sure if they win today, things will automatically change.
I guess the question, correct me if I'm wrong, you're asking is was Ashish Nehra sending out messages consistently to Hardik Pandya while he was on the field to make decisions that the sideliners seen? Was because you were there for some time.
He was sending out suggestions, but it was obviously Hardik's purview to take it or not take it, right? But they had that relationship where he would send out messages, Hardik would accept it without any issues. So I mean, I wouldn't take any credit away from Hardik for his captaincy for the last 2 years by saying that Ashish Nehra's suggestions made him do what he did. That would be wrong. He led from the front. Like at least the year I was there, he was a really strong leader. If he would say something, he would actually go out and do it, which is very, very respectful. As a captain, you want a leader to lead from the front. So yeah, I mean, Hardik's a really good captain. He's got his head on his shoulders. They've had 3 really bad defeats, but it's a new setup, it's a new atmosphere, and I'm sure they'll come good.
Yeah, I mean, the point we're also sort of trying to follow closely is Hardik the captain, which you see more of with his bowling changes and his bowling plans. There's been one point where we've discussed Hardik coming in too low. He did come in much earlier in the Sunrisers game. It was a tough chase, tough situation. Mumbai's bowling, though, does it present a new set of challenges for someone like Hardik Pandya? He had the resources like Rashid Khan and Mohammad Shami at the Titans. Mohit Sharma had a clear role towards the end. Out here, the use of Bumrah is a question. And does he have the same pedigree with Piyush Chawla as we just look at Mumbai's bowling in the early parts of this season so far? At the Wankhede Stadium, first and foremost, the economy is a little over 9 for the seamers, and the spinners play an important role. With the resources that he does have, Tom Moody, does that in any way add to his confusion?
It makes it a hell of a lot more difficult for him. Because, you know, a captain is only as good as the resources he's got at his disposal. And you look at Mumbai and their bowling stocks, both pace and spin, yes, it's better than it was last year, but it didn't take much for it to be better from last year because their bowling stocks were very poor last year. And what's the surprising thing that comes from that statistic is that Mumbai haven't made a conscious effort to identify a high quality spinner to balance their side, knowing that Bumrah was coming back and fit and firing. And there are a few holes in that bowling unit.
Yeah, just on the point that you're making there, Rajasthan have two quality spinners, and that's how they've gone so far in comparison to Mumbai, where Chawla and Shams Mulani, a little bit of Namandir.
Yeah, so when you're building a squad, you look at all those numbers around making your home a fortress, and what works and what doesn't work, and whether it's spin, pace, left arm, right arm, slingy type bowlers or tall bowlers, all those things are really looked into very, very closely. And it just seems that the bowling attack he had at his disposal at GT is far different than the bowling attack that he's got here.
That's probably the most significant point that you've just touched on there. You had so much experience at GT, and Hardik Pandya spoke about the other night that he identifies that he does have a young bowling group, and Gerald Coetzee is just new on the international scene. Mapaka played his first game straight out of 19s. If you don't have that key spinner and the spinners aren't doing well, then there's even more pressure put on young inexperienced players who haven't played in the IPL and don't have the experience that the Shamis and the Mohits do and Rashid do for Gujarat.
Yeah, we were just talking before we started the show, though, that one player who impressed last year was Akash Madhwal, and somehow Mumbai didn't start with him. Not sure if he was carrying a niggle or any of that. That changes today, though, as we just confirmed team news. Akash Madhwal plays, no Shams Mulani. Piyush Chawla is the lone specialist spinner. Quenna Mapaka has been shown faith in, so he will play again. And they still don't name their full complement of overseas players. But with Madhwal coming in, Varun, does that in some way just add a little more clarity to perhaps Hardik's roles for his bowlers today?
I'm a bit surprised because we just saw that spinners go for a little less economy at the Wankhede. You're playing just one spinner. I mean, obviously, we haven't seen the pitch report. We don't know what the pitch is like. But yeah, Madhwal is a really good bowler. But it's a strange combination.
I think if you look at that team that we just brought up, I think it looks like with going with the three overseas players, I thought they might have started with Romario Shepherd, particularly batting first, and then he could have been one of your death bowling options. They've got rid of Shams Mulani, so whether he comes in at that next side, but with the three overseas players, what it does mean is that they can bring Nabi in as well as an overseas spinner if they want to do that. Or maybe they are going to look at bringing Nawana. Maybe they want a genuine power play bowler to come in as a super sub there. We know he's effective with the new ball.
Another fast bowler in that.
It could be.
Quick one though. I mean, this is their batting first 11. Just look at that again, please. Exactly. One more time. And there's no error in that. I'm just double checking that. Yeah, so you will have Madhwal and Bumrah and Chawla and Mapaka.
It's light.
In your batting first 11. Normally you go batter heavy with the flexibility the impact sub allows you, Tom.
I think that they've got Romario Shepherd in the gun, ready to go, because he's not going to bat in the first 10 overs. So he will come in, I would think, for someone in that top order. And come in and bat at the back end and have the impact, which is where he's at his best. So maybe the last 5 overs where he can, do some power hitting. He'll strengthen not so much new ball bowling, but middle over bowling and death bowling, which he's done for the West Indies.
Yeah, I guess that the point you're making, and to add to what Mitch is saying, is the flick toss-up here is, do we want Shepherd or do we want Tushara? And they'll maybe take that call.
Yes.
Yeah, if they have the top order do the job, don't need Shepherd, maybe they'll think.
Do we know who's on the bench?
Yes, we do. Shepherd and Tushara, along with Devil Brevis and Nehal Vadera and Shams Mulani on the bench. So you can rule...
So
in a batting first 11, if Brevis is not in your...
I think that might be the first time that Tushara has been named on the bench. Brevis has been there in the previous game. So maybe that's an indication that Nawana is going to play.
All right. Well, they did pick him up for good money. Nuwan Tushara, who Sri Lanka have capped and rate very highly, where he's supposed to be, in what I've heard from some of our friends in Sri Lanka, more accurate version of Patirana. But Patirana has become dead accurate, especially after last night. But working with Lasith Malinga, we'll see if we get to see a bit of Nuwan Tushara for the first time in the IPL. Rajasthan Royals will bowl for the first time will bowl first for the first time this season. So we were wondering whether they will name their full complement of overseas. They have. So Nanriberger will partner Trent Bolt with the new ball, you'd think. Both the specialist spinners in the 11, along with Avesh Khan, but no Sandeep Sharma.
Interesting.
Yeah.
But it's forced their hand, hasn't it? Which is what we've talked about a little bit with Rajasthan. They have been very clever around their impact sub, but they've also been very lucky with the toss because it's gone in their favour. Now it's forced their hand to show all their overseas options because they went into both the first two games with the option of Rovman Powell, or Berger, and now it's it's going to be interesting to see what they do at the halfway mark.
There are a couple of things in that. Just bring that up one more time if we can. So by naming the full 4 complement, when they chase, they cannot bring in Rovman Powell, who is someone they pad up and keep ready. They normally have Sandeep Sharma doing a unique role of bowling around after the 12th, 13th, 14th over mark, just bowling 2 or 3 overs at times. Out here, they're expecting everyone on the right-hand side to bowl because nobody on the left-hand side does unless you count Riyan Parag's part-time off spin.
Sandeep Sharma might be injured because he's not even on the bench.
Yeah, because this is their bowling first team.
Kuldeep Sen's there.
Kuldeep Sen's there, but this is their bowling first, Varun. So unlikely that they would bring in another bowler when they are bowling first here. They would ideally they're just basically naming 5 bowlers to do the job here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised because Sandeep Sharma actually has a really good record versus Rohit Sharma.
He does, yes.
He gets him out all the time. So
keeper up, knuckle balls.
Yeah, absolutely.
They're sport for choice. That's what it's telling us. They're sport for choice, and when their hand is forced, where they've got to bowl first, they know they're under pressure with their bowling, and Prague will be that 6th bowler. We've seen him bowl domestically. We've seen him bowl a little bit last year. So they'll try to squeeze an over or 2 out of him if they're under pressure.
So as a starting 5, that's one of the best starting 5s going around in this competition.
You're not complaining. You're not complaining.
If any team can play with 5 bowlers.
But different roles though this time. No Sandeep to come on later. So Nanriberger will have to perhaps bowl at the death.
Bolt will have to
Maybe Bolt will have to bowl at the death. You use your bowlers differently here.
Yeah, I don't see that being a major issue because you're talking quality bowlers.
All right, we look at one more thing though. If I just look at the Rajasthan team one last time, that we might see a new impact sub here because they can't bring in Powell and they will likely bring in a batter. So their options would be Shubham Dubey or Abid Mushtaq. So we wait to see.
Dubey, wouldn't it? Be Dubey, do you think?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
should be.
That's not convincing.
Maybe
it's not convincing.
I'm not convinced. Let's see.
See, the thing is, this takes us back a little bit to the Rajasthan side pre-impact sub. Very good batters, very good bowlers, but somewhere in the middle, batters don't really bowl, bowlers don't really bat.
Would you say money plays?
Money plays.
Yeah, Dubey went for quite a bit, I think, in the auction.
Yes.
Money always plays.
Shubham Dubey went for nearly 6 crore, 5.8 crore.
Money plays.
The Vidarbha left-hand batter.
Your predictions yesterday were so bang on. You were in a different zone. Just be confident.
Today is not much of a predicting kind of day. It's MI's lost 3. These guys have won 3.
2 and 2.
2 and 2. Yeah, so, I mean...
Or are you predicting that at the start already? MI will lose 3 and RR will lose 3.
Yeah, so
we're talking about a draw.
It seems...
Exactly.
Sorry about that. Well done. Okay. It's on that note where Varun Aaron's finding it hard to predict. Let's enter the impact zone. Just a reminder, 3 players for each expert at the start of the game, a batter, bowler, and they're free to pick their third as per their instinct, and impact points for each player counted as per our smart stats, which is a much more accurate way of reading how a player impacts a game in T20 cricket. Highest points tally for the winning expert will get them 3 points in the season tally. And I'd like to point out here for Varun and Tom that this will be the last time that Mitch McClenaghan is going to play this game. We're not going to see him from tomorrow. He is coming out of retirement and is excited for breaking news.
Yeah, thank you very much.
He tweeted this at 12 minutes past 3 this morning.
Yeah. So,
Did you have a bad dream or something?
It's just it was a late call in the night, and when SOS goes out, you put your hand up.
And I can tell you that there are franchises that are already in talks with him. How do you think he would go? if he were to just resume.
Actually, it's a bidding battle at the moment, Tom. So
Right, okay, I'm just trying to get my head around that. I'm just trying to get my head around that tweet. Just explain yourself.
Oh, well, I'm coming out of retirement. Obviously, you're a past cricketer. And
well, you can't even get your leg up on your... How are you coming out of retirement?
Yeah, explain. We understood that. We read that. You're coming out of retirement. Can you explain the decision?
Without wanting to stretch the joke too long. Yeah.
But look at this. This is the problem. Now, the heavy roller broke down at Wankhede and they need a sub to come in and roll the wicket. So
Stop it now. Right?
Okay.
Good shape. Right, but as that tweet, of course, was posted just as the date turned to 1st April. So that is Mitch McClenaghan's April Fool's joke. Oh. And I thought Varun was still not, he was still searching.
Jeez, you're enthusiastic there, mate. We've got to clip that enthusiasm.
Now, shall we get some picks in? And given Mitch has humoured us, why don't we allow him to go first today?
Mitch went first yesterday.
Yeah, well, you came last, and you can go first, mate.
No, you go first, because we won't hear the end of it if you don't go first.
Okay,
Yeah,
Jasprit Bumrah.
We're going batters first, aren't we?
You can choose. You get the choice.
He's gone bowlers. So we'll go bowlers.
You get the best
Tom
batters.
Moody.
You'll go first.
I will go with Trent Bolt.
Varun Aaron.
I will go with Yuzi Chahal.
Yuzvendra Chahal. All right, solid bowling options. Tom, batter.
I will go with Butler.
Okay, he's not had his best start, but
Good
dangerous
choice
and
at
good
the
record at the
good-
Wankhede.
Good choice at the Wankhede. I will go with Pandya.
I'm going to go with Sanju Samson.
Wow, all right. And Varun Aaron, your wild card?
Wild card is going to be Ashwin.
Wow, okay. Mitch?
Tom can go.
Jaswal.
And I didn't even know they were still on the board. That's poor from me.
Yeah, I was waiting for someone to say Jaiswal at his home ground.
Jeez,
Got 130 there last time, didn't he?
Okay, true. I'm going to go with Rohit Sharma.
All right, he'll get a cheer when he walks out a little while from now. It's time now to get some picks.
Do you get points for cheers and points for boos?
We haven't got there yet.
Okay, right. Just making sure.
All right, predictions. First innings.
Are you looking at me first for this
Whoever
prediction?
wants to go for something.
I'll throw one out there. I think it's going to be 187.
Sorry?
187.
187. So I'll just let you all know, we're going to incentivize you a bit further. If you make a Hardik Pandya prediction today, you get some extra points. Go either way.
Okay, Hardik
So
Pandya
187 for Tom. Would you like to make one?
Yeah, I'm going to predict that Hardik Pandya is going to hit more than three or more sixes.
Very good.
Okay.
Mitch?
I think Hardik Pandya's team will get more than 200 runs. And my score prediction is going to be 211.
Okay, big score.
I'm going to go 195. And Hardik Pandya is going to get more than 50.
More than 50.
50.
All right.
Impact player, right?
All right.
I have to back your impact player.
Right. So Varun, Mitch, Tom, there's some love for Hardik Pandya on this couch. Let's hope there is some of the Wankhede too. Gentlemen, thank you very much for your time and your thoughts. Right, download the mobile app. If you haven't already, it'll have you up to speed with everything that's happening. We have our people at the ground who've been giving us updates on the reception Hardik got at the toss, and we wait and see Mumbai Indians' use of their impact sub very closely, given they continue to name just the three overseas, including Akash Madwal and Bumrah in their batting 11, and Rajasthan with their full complement. So this should make for an exciting game. Stakes are high, and we pick up the conversation at the end of the MI innings on Maruti Suzuki Arena presents ESPN Cricket Info Timeout. See you then.
All new hot and techy Brezza, the Citybird SUV.